online. We're up next for the Chairman's Trophy. This is Senior 4 Senior Quadruple Sculls. Slow down. Senior Quadruple Sculls.
You're too excited, aren't you?
I was. I'll tell you what, that was fantastic. This will be fantastic. Edinburgh Agecroft. Edinburgh University against Agecroft. And Agecroft will be in red. Edinburgh University Boat Club are on the Berkshire station. That's nearest to the bank. Agecroft over on the island side. There they are in red, and difficult from this camera angle. But again, it's the final, you know. Give it plenty, and they do. You sometimes watch other sports and you think, do they really know that this is a final? There's the results. Look on there, regattaresults.co.uk. You can get all the results. At the end of the island, the result here, I think, of that push is that Agecroft have a lead.
Yeah, and they've beaten Reading University on the way to the final, Bournemouth University, and some of the races they've been able to relax and get ahead and then just take the rate right down, but not this one, because Edinburgh are going to be pushing them. I said yesterday that I think we're going to see a big resurgence of Edinburgh rowing, because they're now training at Strathclyde. There's quite a bit of finance being pumped into it, and they're not letting Agecroft get away with this, are they? Now, Agecroft might have had the best start, but at the moment it's Edinburgh that's got the best rhythm. They're coming right back at them. My goodness, that's tremendous sculling. It really is. Agecroft really do need to respond if they're going to keep that lead, and I think they just have.
Well, the thing with quad sculling is that things can change a race, and steering is a big part of it. We've seen that. Stuff can happen in a boat. We're not going to go there. But if you look at these images here, you can see that Edinburgh are now beginning to just gain perhaps a couple of centimetres of stroke on Agecroft. So
yeah, it'll be interesting, because I think Agecroft responded really well to that push and they held them off, but they're coming again.
They will have calls here. So this is 1,500 metres, and I know that a number of crews opt to have a push about at the halfway point. So let's see what happens here. Yep, Agecroft have responded. I'm going to have a look out of the window here, Greg, so you tell us what you see there.
Well, what we're seeing is just fantastic sculling, isn't it? I mean, strength and athleticism, power, mental. Oh, it's just fantastic. And they're really pushing hard. Agecroft, that's a great shot we're getting there. They're really pushing hard, because just behind them, there's Jim Aitken. I thought he was a rugby player, Jim Aitken.
Yeah.
And they're holding them off. Now, Edinburgh are pushing, but Agecroft are really holding them off.
So as they passed me dead in line, it was just short of a length. But you know that Edinburgh, they're not going to give up here. That's halfway. They'll have a glance over and they'll think, right, let's have another go. Let's launch another attack. But, you know, the reason those booms are there to stop stuff like that, which is a little bit awash. You have, you know, those great big things on the right that ought to be at sea, not on the Thames. Enough of that. But here you go. Gee whiz, there's another...
you know, it's tremendous if you're watching this.
Couple of boats coming up, but they're going slowly, so hopefully this won't create too many problems. I've followed a number of races down here, and there is very often a bit of swell. The wind conditions, even when it's not too breezy, there's some gaps along this reach where the wind can just catch you. So there's lots and lots going on. And Agecroft just holding off the challenge.
They've been just consistent all the way through. And what I've liked to see is that when they've been pushed, their shoulders have remained relaxed. They haven't panicked, and they've got all the power down in the legs, just making the arms do the right stuff technically with the blade. Of course, it's all the legs that are providing the power. And they've sculled just beautifully.
They've had to work hard, though, to shake them off, haven't they? They really did. And at the halfway point, you thought, well, if Edinburgh can just crack on again. However, that is some really, really good sculling that we've seen there. With Agecroft now on the paddle to home. it's Agecroft that looked to have this one in the bag. The bow girl just glanced over her shoulder. Where is this finish line? It's not too far now. Just a few more strokes. She looks again, and it can't come too soon, but well sculled. Great race, and well sculled Edinburgh University. Down at the start now we have one of my favourites, the Junior Quadruple Sculls for the B. Langridge Trophy, and you can see that we have Warrington, or you'll see shortly that we have Warrington nearest to us, and they are up against Glasgow again. So there you are at the finish there, just some images there of them congratulating their opponents.
Tell you what, they've left nothing in the tank, have they?
Brilliant. Right, here we go, as I was saying.
So this is really exciting, Martin, isn't it? Because
Warrington and Glasgow.
This is a rerun of almost rerun of the National Schools final, except that Warrington, I think, have changed 2 of their rows. So doesn't that say something for the strength? If that's true, it says something for the strength in Warrington at the moment.
That is an excellent shot of the start. So you saw that what happened, that they really latched onto the water, the Warrington girls, and threw great puddles away from them.
What a fantastic start.
That is a brilliant
and
start.
And this is exactly what they did at National Schools. They just absolutely leapt out of the blocks, and the other schools and clubs trying to get back on them, and they didn't allow them. Let's see. Now Glasgow got the silver medal, so absolutely no slouches whatsoever, and they wouldn't have come all this way to get a silver again, that's for sure.
Well, Warrington have double scullers in the final a little later on, so they've got half a dozen of the top junior scullers in the country. And I was talking to somebody from Henley Rowing Club. They're always in the mix in this event, as you know, and they were saying, you know, Glasgow really are a force to be reckoned with. It's Warrington at the moment just being warned for their steering, and they duly oblige, and yeah, it's still Warrington that have the lead here. There's overlap, it's probably 3/4 of a length. Warrington now just beginning to settle down into their race rhythm.
And Glasgow, Martin, quite close to the boons, aren't they?
They are. Well, these coxless boats, there's all sorts of theories on what bit of the river you should be occupying, and whether you should actually get a bit close and try and intimidate your opposition, or whether you should get in and get close to the woodwork. But it's flirting with danger. What you need to do is to get from A to B as quickly as you can. And the tactic here, Warrington, get ahead, but they haven't moved any further ahead than that, have they, Greg?
No, after 100 metres, this was it, wasn't it? Their start was blistering. And as I said, this is exactly what they did at National Schools, but with a couple other scullers in there, because at the moment we're looking at Aisha Wooler, Lucy Stanhope, Pippa Curran and Rachel Harris, and that's not the same quad that was in National Schools Regatta, but look at what's happening.
Well, Glasgow are moving up on them here as we go
big push
past the offices that used to be the barn bar, coming up towards the enclosures, and there'll be plenty of support for both of these crews.
So Warrington have got to hold them now. They've really got to hold them, because they're on a charge of Glasgow.
They are. There's a gap there in the woodwork, and they join, and it's Warrington now getting very, very close to the woodwork. Look at the angle of that boat. That doesn't look too healthy to me.
Just straightened it up now.
Yeah, and only just in time.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was close. So that means that they've had a push. The result of that push was that it put them off course. They've now straightened, and they're just holding off this attack. Wow, this is close.
I think Glasgow have just taken a canvas look.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's a great push. Warrington have got to respond now.
Brilliant stuff.
It is absolutely brilliant stuff.
junior quads. I mean, how that has moved on over the last
Just
half a
look
dozen
at the
years.
blade work. You know, look at the depth of all the blades going in the water. You know, they're absolutely all the same. And this is after how many? 1, 2, 3. After 3 races plus a time trial.
And there's goodness knows how many tried to qualify in this event as well. So it is massive. Some clubs, you know, do have an awful lot of girls. Well, there you are, Warrington. You know, there's 4 in this final. They've got a double Scull coming up in a couple of races, and Glasgow. You know, they're up there. But this is really, really good stuff from the Glaswegians, and that's just fantastic. Really, really good. Well,
Yeah, very smooth, and the reach is tremendous, isn't it? For right ahead of the riggers there. Really tremendous.
yeah, off the back of National Schools. So here they are at Henley Royal, Henley Women's, Henley Royal next, up for these girls, and that is beautifully rowed. Great race, really, really good contest. Well done, Warrington, and particularly well done, Glasgow. They're heading off down towards the finish. So unless Warrington can find something in the tank, it looks to me as if Glasgow have got this one in the bag.
Another one of your favourites next. It just keeps coming.
It just keeps coming.
What a privilege to be here to watch this festival.
I thought you were going to say sat next to me.
No, I wasn't.
That's always a privilege, you know that. Here we go. Coming up to the finish. Great stuff.
Yeah, well
Great
done,
stuff.
Glasgow.
Well done, Glasgow, and that is well worth the trip. And we'll look forward to them receiving their prizes from Debbie Flood later. Junior 16 Quadruple Sculls, J16 Quads for the Nina Padwick Trophy, sponsored by Nina Padwick, Headington and Henley. Headington nearest to the bank in the light blue, Henley in the white on the far side. Now Henley have demolished everybody in this event, so these girls are 15 or just 16 years of age, and again, really, really good stuff. Headington, well, they've had a pretty easy ride to the final as well, so these are the best 2 crews in this event. I say that because sometimes the draw can throw things up where it doesn't quite work, but here we have Headington nearest to us and Henley Rowing Club on the far side.
And that's, as you say, this crew have been dominant all season, haven't they? And they're really beautiful scullers. The coaching at Henley, I have to say, for sculling is just tremendous. For the last, 5 or 6 years, they've produced winners. And in the National Schools Regatta, of course, they won more gold medals than any other school or club. A tremendous achievement.
Well, we've just seen the race beforehand, which was the junior quads for under 18s. This one for under 16s. Some of this Henley crew were trying to get in the junior quad boat for Henley. So Henley are mixing them up. So you may see some of these girls racing in boats trying to qualify for Henley Royal Regatta. Again, what we were talking about earlier was plenty of youngsters at a really, really good level. Funnily enough, massive support for Henley.
Yes, you can probably just hear that Martin's getting quite excited too, I can tell you. But they really are sculling well. They've taken the rate right down, really going for length, putting the power on, keeping an eye on Headington, just making sure that there's no push, because they're in control. They know exactly what they've got to do. They've just got to keep their sculling nice and smooth. It's all subconscious for these girls now. They know exactly what they're doing. They don't have to tell their brain what to do. It's already pre-programmed in it. They just have to worry about driving the legs down. The brain will adjust the blades and the hands just automatically. It's beautiful to watch. Really is.
Well, girls junior rowing, Headington won the 8s earlier. They're being beaten here in the quads by the Henley club. I see a lot of these girls out training. I see them walking to and from their training, and by gum, they are focused. I mean, it is just brilliant for young girls to get involved with rowing. Whatever their inspiration, whether it is the Olympics, whatever it is, whatever inspired them, whoever's inspiring them, this is just fantastic. And that is J16. You look at the quality of that. They are schoolgirls and they are rowing like mature athletes. Hats off.
So Martin, this will be Isabel Johnson, I think, Georgie Robinson Ranger, Charlotte or Mary Wright in that J16 boat.
Yeah, well, Mary Wright, I know, presently lives in Birmingham and travels down here to train at Henley.
That's, my goodness.
That's a commitment.
Well, we both live in Henley, don't we? And in the early nights, I should say, when it's dark around about 3:30, if you go around, you see these girls in groups running. Obviously, can't get on the river. They're only going to do so many ergos, and they are pounding the streets together. Absolutely.
And they make them wear high-vis jackets, don't
yes,
they?
They do.
They run around with these
other
high-vis
thing,
jackets.
Martin, to remember, because you're an academic as well, it's they've been doing GCSEs all blooming year as well. So they've had to juggle that as well as all that training. And let me tell you, no one gets to be this good without hard work.
Well, there's big screams for Georgie. She's a very, very popular girl, and it's determination and attitude that wins you admiration of your club mates and everybody around. And that is fantastic. Well done, Henley. Well done, Headington. That was a really, really good race. Right, we're down now at the start where we have
the Regatta Cup. This is junior doubles, and we've got another Warrington crew in. So two after the oops, they're absolutely straight there. I was looking at the previous race that were collapsing with tiredness, but the double, it looks like Warrington that have taken off really quick. Is that right?
Yeah.
They really are.
Warrington are on the Berkshire station. That's on the left-hand side nearest to the bank.
Now is that Berkshire or Berkshire?
Berkshire.
Berkshire.
Berkshire brawn and Berkshire bread. Strong in arm, soft in head. Somebody told me that.
Well, look, I'll tell you what, let's get back to this because that's Warrington again. They've shown how marvellous they are at starting. And again, they've gone to about the same lead that they had in the quad as well.
Yeah. And without wishing to be, a little bit contentious here or areaist, if that's a word, Glasgow and Warrington, centres of excellence for girls rowing. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. But they're doing something right. And to be fair, Northwich are having a bit of resurgence too. You hear much more of them now, don't you, than you
absolutely.
did 5 years ago.
If only you and I knew exactly where Northwich were, but we're suspecting it's Staffordshire way.
We're thinking
somebody will tweet in. Yeah, there's people tweeting when you get things wrong. Can you imagine?
Look
right, here you go. Brilliant.
So this is
Brilliant.
Eleanor Davis and Lucy Glover. Now, Martin, you'll remember that Lucy Glover won the single J18 at National Schools Regatta and was part of that Warrington quad that also won gold. For this time, coaches and the club, they've decided to put her in a double.
If you want the results, there's a reminder there. You go to hwrregattaresults.co.uk. We hope you've enjoyed this coverage. We have literally had tens of thousands of people watching the web streaming. We want to thank all of our sponsors. Their names appear on the top right-hand side. In particular, I want to thank Fawley Court for getting involved. And if you're interested in doing something over the regatta, please do go to their website, look them up. Thank you so much, all of you, for your support, enabling us to bring you these wonderful images. And the image at the moment is the double scull of Warrington powering their way down 1,500 metres to hopefully pick up the Regatta Cup.
So this is, as we're looking at this, that'll be Lucy Glover stroking that and Eleanor Davis, I think, in the bows. Both tremendous single scullers, actually, and put them both together. It does sometimes doesn't work, you know, the timing. If you can't get the timing right, it just won't work. But there's nothing wrong with the timing of these two girls, is there? And the steering, again, absolutely marvellous. It's just world class. As I said, it's a privilege, isn't it, just to be watching some of this sculling and this rowing.
Well, part of A-level PE is looking at the perfect model. You know, how do you execute whatever sport? And I would suggest, looking at this, you have got the perfect model in terms of preparation and execution of sculling. That is simply majestic.
There's no wobble right to left, is there? You know, that's so hard in a double because you're not controlling it on your own. You know, there's two of you there, and one slight mistake by one will make the boat wobble, and then someone pulls it back. But there's absolutely nothing here. And mustn't forget, Martin, that the Northwich girls, you know, they've done really well to get to the final.